The TapNGo Transport Initiative, a collaborative effort between the government and private investors, aims to modernize the reservation of seats on public transport and the subsequent payment of fares. This initiative is structured to enable users of public transport to load funds onto their TapNGo transport cards or accounts, simplifying the payment of fares. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, who launched the initiative, said it will transform the transport sector.
I am confident that the TapNGo system will serve as a powerful tool in addressing these issues to ensure transparency in ticketing, mitigate revenue losses, reduce waiting times at the terminals, and optimize operational costs. On this note, I hereby declare the TapNGo for the Metro Mass Intercity Services duly launched.
Dr. Baumia further assured of steps to expand its use to other forms of public transport, including commercial buses, widely known as Trotro.
Because we are putting all public transport on one platform. So if you get up and you go for Trotro, over time, you should be able to tap and go. If you leave the Trotro and you have to take a bus, you should be able to tap and go with Metro Mass. If you get to STC, you should be VVIP. You should be able to. And now we are getting new rail transport coming in. The trains are coming in, and we are going to introduce tap and go with the rail transport as well. The same card, if you have to take a train, you should be able to tap and go. The same card for the whole of the public sector.
The Minister of Transport, Kweku Forie-Siama, said the TapNGo initiative forms part of government's efforts to improve and modernize public transport service delivery.
Metro Mart has over the years been confronted with some age-old problems, including unreliability of services, ticketing malpractices, and revenue leakage, among others. As part of the transformative agenda, government resolved to streamline operations and improve the overall passenger experience. Government reckons that the world is rapidly digitalization, and public transport should be of no exception.
Managing Director of Metro Mass Transport, Albert Edubuahin, said they will support government in getting the system up and running.
Right, so if you just watched the video that we played to you, the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, has unveiled what we would call the digitalized Metro Mass system. So for us as Bottomline and people interested in business, it is not just about the launching or unveiling of a digital system for the Metro Mass, but for us, how is it going to create a lot more employment? How is it going to reduce the revenue leakages or cap, or maybe take out entirely the revenue losses that are usually recorded by the Metro Mass Transit Company? Tonight, we get into the details of this. We'll have a bit of an analysis on what's happening so far with the Metro Mass Transit. We'll also look at the TapNGo system, the IT system, the digitalized system, which is being introduced by the Metro Mass Transit, launched by His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, this afternoon, or you can fairly say this morning. So these and many other issues are what we'll go into tonight. You want to stick and stay with us. Our focus is on Metro Mass Transit, and I'm privileged to be having some senior directors of the company talk to us tonight, and we'll try as much as possible to interrogate them on all of the issues that will come to bear. You may want to send in your messages if you have any. What is your experience with the Metro Mass Transit? Do you think it's a company that has to be augmented, as the Vice President is expressing much interest in it, or was your experience negative at all? We'll be asking the questions if you put them up on our WhatsApp platform. Please You are not allowed to call. You are not allowed to call. Just send in your WhatsApp messages. When I take this short break and come back, the directors are already in the studio. They will be seated with us and we get straight along with the discussion. Please do stay with us. All right, so you welcome back from the break. This is the bottom line, and I've said to you that on the bottom line, we say business at the speed of thought. You welcome from the break, and let me quickly introduce you my guests who are seated in the studio. I've already told you that our focus tonight is on the Metro Mass Transit. Earlier today, we had the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, launch, or we can say unveil, what they call the TapNGo. So it's the digitalization agenda of the, if you want to say, the new patriotic government. Of course, this is the bottom line. We don't do politics here. It's about business. It's about employment creation. It's about jobs for the people and how we can push forward the economy. So tonight, even though it's about the TapNGo, we'll get into the operations a bit of the Metro Mass Transit, and I have the Chief Communications Officer or the Head of Corporate Communications for the Metro Mass Transit Company Limited, George Krobia Santi, to my immediate left. George, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, my brother Kwasi.
I hope you're doing well. It's been a while.
Yeah, by the grace of God, I'm fine. But as you can see, it's been a packed day for me. You know, one event from to the other. You know. Just in the morning, just like you mentioned, we had the launch of the TapNGo app. And at the same time, the Vice President also used the same opportunity to commission the 25 new buses that was given to Metro Mass here. So it's been good, but Charlie, it's been very...
I'll come back to the details of how it's been since you've been in charge of the Metro Mass Transit. The journey so far, whether it's anything positive to talk about, we've seen some stories around the airwaves, some of which we are not too happy about, others I think, which we can commend you on. I'll come back and throw the question to you, what the journey has been. Then we'll get into the details. So, Raj Ahiable is a software engineer. Raj, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening.
I hope you're doing well as well.
Yes,
you developed the TapNGo.
Well. Yes, along with a team of some very amazing engineers. So, yeah. And I am glad that finally the country would get to see what we've been working on this past few years. So, yeah.
And then I will come to you again. Like I said, I'll come to George. When I come to you, it will be about what exactly the TapNGo is and how customers can plug in, what is needed of it and all of that. Yeah. And Simon Mate is a business development manager. Is it TapNGo or Metro Mass? TapNGo. So you are consultants for Metro Mass? IT partners. Consultants.
We are partners.
Partners. Kindly put on your mic for me. So let me go over that again. George Mate is a business development manager.
Simon Mate.
Simon Mate is a business development manager, and according to him, they are partners of Metro Mass Transit in the TapNGo project. I'll come to that pretty shortly. But I've said to you that our focus primarily today is on the entire Metro Mass Transit. So let me come back to you, George, and let me open it for the purposes of the people who are
watching us.
Sure. How has the journey been so far?
Kwasi, thank you. Let me say good evening to our lovely viewers, home and at work. I know some people are still at work, and they are watching us. Yes, Metro Mass was incorporated somewhere 2003. It used to be OSA. Then it transited to Metro Mass. That was under the able leadership of the former president, His Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor. He actually brought Metro Mass into existence. At the time, Metro Mass was given 1,024 buses with a staff population of close to 3,000. And we were operating in 386 routes nationwide. During the period, we have 10 regions in Ghana, and Metro Mass was in all the 10 regions, and some district capitals across the country. Kwasi, it was good. You know, it was a partnership between the Ghana government at the time and then the Dutch government. Mm-hmm. So the first set of buses that was given to the company was actually given by way of grant by the Dutch government to the Ghana government at the time under former President John Ajekum Kufuor's administration. Mm. And we're doing quite well. We're doing so good. All over the country, we were just giving some sort of reliable and affordable means of transportation to the good people of this country. MetroMass was introduced as a form of pro-poor initiative of social intervention program. So in effect, the company is not necessarily existing to be making profit. Per the mandate that was given to us, we were just to ensure that movement of goods and services, movement of people and goods from the rural urban areas, from rural communities to the urban centers are much more affordable by every single Ghanaian. And we also had a mandate of busing students in school uniforms for free. Again, we had the mandate of ensuring corporate transport. You know, we have some corporate entities that also enter into partnership with MetroMass to, as it is, bus their staff for them. So these were the mandate. But in service, we have 3 core services. We have 3 categories of service we provide. We do what we call the intercity service. The intercity service consists of every sort of journey that is more than 90 kilometers. We classify it as intercity service. Then we have what we call the rural-urban service, and then the intra-service. The intra-service is just operating within the metropolis. For instance, we're having some buses in local parlance, you say, I trotro. Mm-hmm. So these are the buses that just commute within the metropolis.
So, for example, these buses will move from maybe Dansoman to Kolebu or Dansoman to Circle.
Yes.
And then maybe from Circle to Adenta.
That's right. Just like
Madina.
Ayalolo is doing now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the service we call intracity service.
Right.
So basically, these are the 3 services that we are providing. Just as I mentioned initially, the first managing director of the company was a Dutch. And it was part of the partnership agreement that we had with the Dutch government. Mm. So he was there from 2003 to 2008 when, unfortunately, the MPP government lost the elections in 2008. Then our brothers from the NDC came into power, and among the decisions that they considered, this Dutch man was sacked. He was asked to go back to Holland. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I cannot speak to the procedure that sort of engagement went into, but along the line, the relationship that existed between MetroMass and our Dutch partners got bad. So at a point, we're not having such relationship. But thankfully enough, under the current administration, we've been able to revive that relationship that we used to have with our Dutch partners. Mm-hmm. And as the conversation moves on...
Are you bringing them back?
Oh, no, they are already on board.
Are you going to have a Dutch manager again?
No, we got some technical advisors. They've been here in fact, some comes and then along the line they leave, another team comes around, depending on what they are coming to do. So we've got different kind of people coming to, providing some sort of training for our drivers, others providing some sort of technical assistance. So I can confidently say that under the current leadership of MetroMass, we've been able to fully revive the relationship that existed between us and our partners. Right. And the interesting aspect of it is that it as a result of that laudable initiative that was considered by the current board, our hard-working sector minister, Honorable Kwaku Siyama, and I say a very good evening to him, and then the current managing director, Mr. Abeta Dubuahin. Somewhere 2020, we had an agreement with the Dutch partners, and they agreed to provide the company with 500 VDL buses. And the arrangement was that every year, 100 of these buses will be given to MetroMass. Unfortunately, just after we concluded that arrangement, then COVID came up. So the first set of 100 buses, or the first set of buses that were supposed to have come in, delayed a bit because the whole arrangement was truncated as a result of COVID. Mm-hmm. So we got the first consignment in March. Because if you could remember, somewhere in March, we commissioned 45 buses.
Yes, I remember clearly.
Just at the forecourt of State House. And those were part of the agreement I'm talking about. Not long ago, we took delivery of about 10 more. Then today, The vice president commissioned 25. As we speak now, we still have 10 more at the port to be cleared, and then we have 10 more on the sea.
So you're on the path of revival, or you would say you have revived?
Because this Nana Addo Dankwa Bawumia's government have been very good and kind to Metromas. From 2017 to date, this government has supplied Metromas with 199 buses, intercity buses.
From 2017
to date, the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia have provided Metromas with 199 buses, and I can give you the statistics if I am permitted to do so.
190 buses.
Intercity buses.
Intercity buses.
Yes.
Let me come back to ask you this question, and we are getting into the conversation. Would you say, as a chief communications officer of Metromas, that you are in good standing? With 190 buses given to you?
Oh, no. Looking at...
Have you been efficient in your management?
Because considering where we are coming from as a company, a company that started with 1,024 buses, of course, you would say you need to get to a certain level, then you can say you are optimizing your operational efficiency. But we've not been bad, all over the world, globally, because of the advent of COVID. And
of course, we know COVID affected you.
And transport were one of the sectors that were seriously hit.
I agree. But before that, in 2019, 2018, 2017, were you making profits?
We've been doing good, Kwesi. As we speak now, we don't owe salaries of our workers.
You used to owe. You used to have your people.
Oh yes, 6 months arrest. Yeah, that is why for some time now
threatening demonstration and all that.
That is why for the past like a year now, it's hardly would you hear Metroman staff coming out to say they want to demonstrate because of unpaid salaries or what have you. That is a clear indication that management is doing something right. The fact is that under the leadership of the first Dutch MD, there was a policy, fleet replacement policy. And under this fleet replacement policy, the policy was such that, you cannot be running modern transportation system with old-aged buses. You get it? The buses are just like human beings. The older the buses become, the higher the cost of, operating. You get it? So at a point in time, under the Dutch MD's leadership, he introduced what we call the fleet replacement system. And for every 6 years, when that is the standard all over the world, transport standard, every 6 years you are supposed to replace your old fleet with new ones.
So let me ask you, Akufo-Addo has given you 190 buses. You say it's intercity. So yes. These are buses that roam within the metropolis. They go long distance.
Intra is the one that
goes within the metropolis. Yes. So 190 intercity buses, which means you cannot complain about fleets.
No. You see, we are operating 386 routes. In fact, I don't know, but in West Africa, I think
how many number of fleets do you need to be efficient to get to optimum?
That is, I know we started with 1,024.
And how many do you have now?
Old, new, everything put together, I'm sure we'll be somewhere around 250, 260.
250 buses?
Yeah, but you see.
And that's because you have not been replacing, apart from Akufo-Addo giving you 190 buses.
It's not even an issue of not replacing. I mean, I must also credit the previous administration that they did purchase some buses. In fact, under the leadership of the late Professor Mills of blessed memory, some buses came in. Some Tata Ashok buses came in. I have been in the company for 12 years. So I know what have actually transpired over the years. We got some buses from the leadership of John Ivan Sata Mills of blessed memory. They brought in Tata buses, they brought in Ashok buses. You see, Metromas drivers, Metromas technical team, we because of the weather and the environmental conditions we find ourselves as a people, there is a specific type of bus that actually support our operations. And those were the buses that we used to call Kofor buses, the VDL buses. And they are very expensive buses, they are daft. They are very, very expensive buses. So at a point when the white man was leaving, some amount of money have been accumulated for just buses acquisition. Because you're getting it?
Yes.
Yes. So they had a dedicated account just for acquisition of new fleets. That was the plan of the white man. Then unfortunately, after he was sacked, then a new set of leadership also came in. Then they got access to this account. They brought in buses, all right. Those were the Tata and Ashok buses. They did some infrastructure works under that administration, and we must credit them for that. But at the point, if they had brought in these VDL buses, I think it would have helped better than.
Let me ask you
the
this.
Tata and the Ashok that was.
Let me ask you this. Raj and Simon, I'll come to you pretty shortly. But once we have the head of communications here, let's put him on small, and then I'll come to you. What would you say? I mean, you've worked there for 12 good years.
Yes.
You're occupying a senior director position at the agency. You sit at management meetings. You get onto the field for the purpose of your position. Mm-hmm. You interact with passengers. You interact with your drivers. You interact with tickets, people who give out vendors and everything and everybody. What would you say is the problem of Metro Mass? Is it funding? Is it fleet? Is it breakdowns? Is it replacement? Cost of business? Fuel prices? Leadership? It could be leadership as well. People have complained about leadership. Is it change in government, political interference, and so on and so forth? What is your problem?
Because it is important to put on record that I did not join Metro Mass straight away as head of corporate communications.
No, of course. I mean,
I've gone through
you've gone through the ranks for the purposes of the people that are watching. We know that.
So
you've gone through
back
the
to the question. I think it's a very fantastic question you're asking. Yeah. What has been the challenge so far? We in Metro Mass always say that give us the buses and we'll do magic with it. See, it's quite unfortunate when we hear people say that in Metro Mass they don't maintain the buses. You see, because we have a particular kind of mandate. You understand? There are some routes we proud not necessarily to make profit, but to provide a service. Any private transport operator will be unwilling to put buses on such corridors or routes, because these are routes that gives you nothing. Yet you need to invest a lot to ensure that you are able to put a bus there because you have that mandate. And as part of policy, you see, Metro Mass, we are required to charge below 15 to 20% as compared with other transport operators. And this is a matter of policy. It's not as if we are not interested in making money, but that is the mandate we have. Because the government of Kufuor brought Metro Mass to ensure that transportation becomes highly affordable for every Ghanaian with the need to travel. You understand? So, meanwhile, we are all buying the fuel at the same market price. We're all buying spare parts at the same market price. Along the line, overstaffing was also another issue. Metro Mass, let me be very blunt here, is highly political. And that's why you cannot even decide to blame just one government. Successive governments have been doing that. Anytime a new party comes into power, a lot of people, whether, recruitment is not actually based on...
They push people on you.
Not necessarily, yeah. And of course, it's part of our mandate. President Kufuor created Metro Mass to also create employment for the Ghanaian people.
But if you don't have openings for the employment, how do you...
If you have the buses, if you have
the buses, of course, I agree with you. If you are increasing your routes, of course,
because imagine a company that started with 1,024 buses. Okay, imagine, let's do some small analysis here. If you have 1,024 buses and you're having 1,000 drivers, okay, and at the same time, your fleet reduced to 500, and you still keep the same staff levels, there will be some.
But I think, for all of those who are watching me, and then I'm getting too many messages. We are not doing politics, but there are too many messages that I'm getting. And I think I'll join him to make a clarion call on the president and the two major political parties and their candidates. You should make a commitment towards either reviving Metro Mass Transit from 1,024 buses to 250 buses is woefully abysmal, if we should say. And as he's explaining, it's not a problem of just one government. No. In fact, the current government has brought on 190 buses, but it is still not 199 buses. But this is still not enough.
Yes.
To augment the transport system in the country and have people be able to commute properly. We are introducing the digital system, and that's why we are here in the studio today. But, how will the digital system work if the buses are not operating? If somebody from my village somewhere at Ankasi in Kwabre or Fadi in Kwabri East
Or Asanomaso.
or Asinomaso is not able to join the Metromas, how does he use a card? And so this is a call on government. I mean, we are backing you. I don't know if you are making the call.
No, it's a call in the right direction. Let me also make this known to the good people that are watching us that at today's program, the Vice President also made a very profound statement that Metro Mass is going to play a critical role with these electric buses.
100 electric buses. I watched that part.
That government will be giving the company 100 electric buses. All of these buses will come in to augment our fleet size, and I think it will help a lot. I always tell people that if we are so serious about creating employment for Ghanaian youth, give Metro Mass the buses, and trust me, we have the capacity to employ a good number of people. Because nationwide, we are supposed to operate 386 routes, Kwasi. 386.
Even if we have
the structures are already there.
If we have one bus for each route, it means we need a minimum
of 386.
In the worst case.
But on some and transport, you always have to get two buses. Yes. At least. At any point, you're supposed to be operating two buses on a route. One will go and sleep, the other one. So at any point in time, the two buses will be running.
So that's almost 800 buses. You need a minimum of 800 buses.
At least two. And it will be fine. And it will be very fine, Kwasi. And you see, in the midst of all these difficulties and crises, Metro Mass has not laid off a single employee. Whilst other giant companies are laying off staff, Metro Mass has not. If you have been laid off, then probably it's on disciplinary issues.
No, I'm not going to sit here and commend you, Metro Mass, but I'm sitting here to say that you need resources to be able to function effectively. And then when you function effectively, it is not just for the cause of Metro Mass. It is for the cause of every Ghanaian, especially those in the rural areas. And so the call has to be made.
Fantastic, Kasi. And I think it's a good call, and I must thank you on behalf of management for such an agenda to push the Metro Mass for people to come to our aid. But Kasi, another thing I need to also mention is that people usually have this impression that Metro Mass, we don't even maintain the buses, and that is not true. You see, yes, we are not 100%. We are human beings. Sometimes it's not everything will get right. But the fact is that when you consider the kind of routes, the hinterlands, the places we go,
and the type of routes,
there, because transport moves with infrastructure. And you see, because how many? There are some places in the up north. If you don't, if not Metro Mass bus, if you are not getting Metro Mass bus, no businessman would want to put a bus there. A lot of places up north, Voter North, the same. A lot of places. There are some places, no businessman. In fact, any business person with profit in mind will never put a bus there. But because we have that mandate to ensure that our services is everywhere, we don't have that luxury to determine where we want to put a bus based on viability in terms of business or not. So we are compelled to do that because we are serving every single aspect.
I think that, Eugenia, that's the producer. We have to focus really on Metro Mass. We have to put our cameras on you and maybe follow you, come to your workshop and follow your buses and how you actually work on the field and project that, and based on that, request for a lot of buses or fleet for you. But let me try and run away from that for the purposes of time. I mean, we are here today.
So wrapping up on the challenge
you
mentioned.
You're allowed there.
One major issue also has to do with revenue leakage.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to tag a particular class of workers, or I wouldn't want to even say asimesi or BT, or in fact, it's a challenge for the company, be it at the top level, middle level, or bottom level. Revenue leakage has also been a challenge, and that is why the current managing director and his executive are so bent in making sure that we automate our systems. And so far, we are doing very well. And it has actually had significant effect on revenue generation. So it clearly indicates to us that if we are able to focus much on automating our system, we should be able to, or will be able to improve greatly on our revenue mobilization. And that is one aspect that the TapNGo app is actually helping us to address. And trust me, so far we've not fully automated all our operations, but the little we've done, with the aim of very soon we'll be able to do away with this human interface and then the manual ticketing system. And once that we are able, once we are able to do that fully, trust me, we'll be able to improve a lot in terms of our revenue.
Let me go to Simon quickly and ask him what the TapNGo is about. But just before I do that, I'm going to send this to Eugenia, the producer of the show. Somebody has sent us a card. Let me see the details of the card. The card reads with a number 74615154042. And then there is a Metro Mass logo on the card. There is a bus also on the card. I've forwarded it to Eugenia. We'll project the card on the screen pretty shortly whilst we go on. But I would see whether it's the same thing we are talking about. Some people think that there's a reinvention. So I'll come back to you.
I would
let's get the explanation of what the TapNGo is, what the relationship between TapNGo and Metro Mass is. If you've experienced this before too, what's the new thing? What's the new development? What's the new digital issue about it? And that message came from Salom in Adenta. So Salom, I'll come back to read the message. Lots of messages coming up. And let me come to you, Simon, and ask you what it is that you have with Metro Mass and what the app actually is.
So I'd like to commend the National Road Safety Authority because they have led this agenda under their Transport Ghana project. I'd like to also say that the TapNGo is just an aspect of the entire Transport Ghana project that Metro Mass is leading in the country. So with the TapNGo is just an app that allows commuters to have access to intercity service, intracity service, and the ride-hailing service. But in relation to Metro Mass, what we are doing is that we are trying to digitalize their payment system, which allows commuters to have access to a single card, which they can load money on and then get access to, travel across the country. Yeah, so that is what we've done over the past months.
Is this something like Oyster in the UK? Or?
Of course, it's something like Oyster in the UK. But what is so different about, Raju will speak more about that, but what's so different about the TapNGo is that it comes with a virtual card feature that allows you to even patronize the service, even if you don't have a physical card.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so that is a special feature that is inbuilt within the app. Another feature is that it comes with a USSD shortcode where commuters who do not have smartphones can still have access to the system. Yeah, so that is TapNGo.
Star 713, so I checked on it. Star 091 hash.
Absolutely.
That's a USSD. So if you don't have an Android phone or an iOS phone. Yes. So let me come to you, Raj. So can you give us a bit of a detail on this? How different is this from, we are in the digital era anyway, and you are saying TapNGo. What is it made up of?
Yeah, so you would realize that in Ghana, we have a very peculiar situation where parts of our country is not as digitalized as parts of our country, like Simon said, where some people do not have smartphones, right? So, of course, you can compare TapNGo to the Oyster card, where in London, you would have an Oyster card where you would place money on it, and once you want to get into a bus, you tap in, you get into the bus, and once you reach your destination, you tap out. You would then leave the bus, and then the transport fare is charged on the card, right? But with us, right, we need a pathway, right? A pathway that is hybrid in the sense that digitalization does not have to be entirely more like just taking the old manual system that we had and then just scrapping it and then going for a card system, right? So whilst building this card, we also thought of our grandmothers at home who are not really great at using smartphones, right? And they have these phones that they can head over into the bus terminal. They can get a virtual card QR code. So think of it as a temporary card that is generated for you at the bus terminal, right? You then put your money on it, right? Because you have a TapNGo account. So you would have a QR code that's generated. And once you are entering the bus, you can then show the bus this QR code, which is acting as your temporary TapNGo card, right? Yeah. So once you get into the bus, you also do that, and then you can tap in and then tap out. Yeah. Another thing that is very different. Another thing that is very different about this is that we built TapNGo to be extensible. I mean, of course, today we are talking about Metromass as one of the transport companies that is hooking into TapNGo. But
so hold on. The TapNGo is not only for Metromass.
No.
So you mentioned the National Road Safety,
Of course.
and then you're mentioning Metromass. There are other institutions that are going to
Absolutely.
on board. Yeah.
yes,
So when I checked the story, there was Uber in. There was is that the case? You have other taxis and all of
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
But then let's understand it well. Wait, I thought it was an app you built.
We are just leading
just for
the course,
Metromass.
yes. So TapNGo is extensible. We built this to be a central payment system for Ghana.
For all vehicle,
For
transport
all
vehicle
vehicles.
systems. in
Yes,
Ghana.
so Ayalolo tomorrow can hook onto TapNGo and start accepting
Have you
TapNGo
contacted
cards.
Ayalolo yet?
Of course, we've contacted Ayalolo. We've had several engagements with Ayalolo. What we are doing is to foster an integration with the old Ayalolo system with the new TapNGo system. Yes, we are making headway.
Have you contacted STC?
Yes, we have. We have contacted SCC.
What's their response?
They are very happy to come on board. Actually, we've done the integration, but we are just here to receive live feedback from the system. So we're making great progress with the integration. As you're saying, this is a digital platform for all transport commercial operators in the country.
Let me come back to you. You were landing and then I took the word out of your mouth.
Yeah, so TapNGo is extensible. Different transport companies can begin to use TapNGo as their central payment system. And the point here is that as we are helping Metromass become efficient, we also want STC to be just as efficient, right? Trying to block out these leakages, because I believe that Metromass has challenges, but those challenges are also faced by the other transport companies. And TapNGo has been designed to be extensible. Yeah, so that is the main difference between that and the Oyster card and other solutions that have come before.
I'll come to you pretty shortly, George, but let me ask you, one of the biggest concerns for me in IT systems is the security, how people will not be able to outwit the system. Even in the UK, people do it. In the US, people do it. Everywhere, people do it. People jump the system and all of that. Is there any mechanism you put in place to make sure that, the general focus for all of us is to rake in more revenue, is to make sure that Metromass is standing on its feet, is to make sure that STC and all of the other departments that will help on are on their feet.
Yeah.
Are there measures to protect the system?
Yes. So I would say that technology is changing every day, like you said, right? Vulnerabilities come up all of the time. You have hacks showing up, popping up here and there, right? But that is not supposed to hamper us, right? That is not supposed to stop us from building digital systems.
Right.
What is important is that we have a security team that is on standby to be able to handle situations that occur. And we currently have that. We are currently following industry standards with our security, right? And I can assure you that your card, your money isn't going to be used by someone else, right? That is not going to happen. We have built in a lot of guards, and we have a team in place that would be able to battle situations like this. So yeah, it would happen, definitely, but I would say that we are available to fix situations that occur, and we are also trying to have a culture of being open, right? Because when these vulnerabilities happen, certain companies just try to, just like downplay it like it never happened. And yeah, but we are trying to foster a culture of being open, because this is something that is going to be used by the
I love that, but let me
right?
come to the business development manager. The same question to you, but in a different. Are you prepared and ready for situations like that, as he's talking about, and not just when it hits you, but after it has hit you, how you would come back into the system and make sure that we have trust in Metromass, we have trust in STC, we have trust in the systems that we are using with these companies. Are you prepared for that?
Yes, obviously. Like Raj said, we have systems in place. We have standard operational procedures in place when it comes to security breaches and all of that. So we pay very particular attention to security, especially this is a national system. We don't take it lightly at all. So I can assure the public that this system that we have here is well secured. We have measures in place. We have our team also on site to make sure that in case of any vulnerability attacks, we're on guard. Yeah.
So we can have very much confidence
you can
in
have
the system.
confidence in the system.
When we have a problem, we'll come back to you.
Of course.
Anyway, yes, just
and I mean, I would also like to add that in our country, we have built a lot of nationwide systems, and they have stood the test of time, right? Momo has done an amazing job in that regard, right? So you can definitely trust that.
I had to sit at a
Even
conference.
though there have been pockets of issues. This year, yes.
As for the financial sector IT system, that's a mobile money system. I mean, I've been in conferences outside the country where I've had the strength to make strong cases for how we've been able to digitalize our financial systems, even beyond the Europe and the US, and when it comes to financial inclusion through technology for especially the small-scale industries and the rural folk. So I'm very happy about it when we have young team and institutions like yours putting up your minds together to build systems like this. I'm particularly happy about it. But the concern only is the security of it. Let me go to let me pick just three messages. Then I'll come to you on the focus, and then we can close. This one says, I have had the benefit of flying Metro Mass buses from Kumasi to Setriyoso and even Accra to Kumasi. The only difference is that they spend more time on the road than other vehicles. That is why I stopped using it, but I must admit that they are very professional. You can find Metro Mass Transit in the remotest part of Ghana. Kudos to the team. Nana Akuamwa Boatin Ablikuma Central sent in that one. So it's not the Vice President initiative. Wow, upon all this shower praises on the Vice President. Ismaila Huraya Ali sent in that one. Good evening. Please, it's not morning. Please, this TapNGo system is in the country since 2014, and the other messages that are coming are in relation to the fact that we've had the system before, and I'm going to put it up to him, and of course I'll bring it back to you. And somebody put up that card to me that they've seen this before. I don't know whether we're going to go back to it or whether it's a different thing. Please, is there any mechanism put in place for loads? Okay, so we can take it off. I'm taking the last message. Not the last. If I have time, I will take the last one before I close. But for now, before the Director of Communications answers the questions, it says, please, is there any mechanism put in place for loads carried by these passengers since it's tap and go? Let me give that to them, then you answer the rest of the questions. Of course, for me, the person coming in, if I have loaded my card, I just tap and go in. If I have load, like the VIPs do it when they put their carriage and everything down, will it be catered for? Right.
Yes, so it would definitely be catered for, right? Yeah, so there are situations where if it is intra-city, you are just putting a little bit of load in there and then going, right? But then if it is intercity, at that point in time, you are buying a ticket, right? And at that point in time, you would also be carrying a load with a weight, right? So once you when you get to the terminal, they then weigh your item, put it in, and then they just add it to the charge on your card.
Super.
Yeah, so that's not a problem.
So let me come back to you now with some of the concerns and questions that have come up. And then you will tell us about what you seek to achieve. Of course, we know that you want to increase revenue. Apart from that, what else should we expect from the Metro?
I'll take the questions bottom up. The tester who said that the Vice President should not be credited for this is getting it all wrong. In fact, the Vice President is not a software developer. He takes initiatives. He introduced policies and programs that will benefit this country. As a leader, that is what is expected of him.
Right.
And that is exactly what the Vice President spearheaded. Then one person also mentioned the fact that this particular system has been there since 2014. That is also equally not true. What the Ayalolo card and the Metro Mass card you just exhibited or you just demonstrated here sought to do was like, these are just normal cars, mere cars. You have these cars, you put money in the cars, or on the cars, and you can only use those cars just to access only Metro bus or Ayalolo bus. For instance, if you are keeping possession of Ayalolo card, that card can only enable you to board Ayalolo bus. But this one, we are talking about a platform. You see, the whole idea is to create a single transport ecosystem where anybody can just be on the platform and actually access any transportation services you like. So the two, they are never the same. This is just first of its kind. It's never been implemented anywhere in this country. I have been in the Metro Mass for so many years. And trust me, with this one, you can even travel without a card. Ask anybody that, can you join Ayalolo bus without the card? That's a simple question. This is a card you can put money on. At any point in time, when you feel like transferring the money back into your Momo wallet, you can do that. Ask anybody if Ayalolo card supports that.
But there will be people who will be stationed in the buses when they have problems with the technology. Is that the case?
No, because let me tell you, with this technology, but before I move to the benefits, let me quickly also address the issue of somebody who said, Metro Mass, we are good, but we keep long on road.
Yes.
You see, when you come to Metro Mass, safety is our topmost priority. We are not interested in getting there first. Our focus is taking you there. You get it? So safety, and it is not surprising that over the years, you can check from Ghana Road Safety's records, we happens to be the most safest means of road transport. So you get it?
There was another question on the card. Is it the same card we've seen before? Is it the card?
It is never the same, and I think I've
You've dealt with that.
Yeah, I've explained.
Someone says, David from Kaswa says, good evening, Mr. Host. Most of these buses, they own staff do steal the parts and sell to other transporters.
We have some staff
also drilled fuel in the chambers and sell out. All in the name of public institution. No man's business.
Because these days, it is not the usual business where staff will just be involved in theft and you will be arrested and you'll be asked to go home. No. And Abeta Dubois, as the managing director, first of all, will dismiss your appointment or will disengage you, and they will make sure that we allow the law to also take its own course. A number of our staff are still before court. And if you should call the union executive, they will even testify to this, that even here in Accra, we have a number of some Metro Mass staff who are arraigned before court. I was talking about
I am Kwame Boache. Sorry that I'm cutting in. I believe the tap and so too many messages, but what I check on, or I chance on, then I read. I believe the tap and send will erase corruption. This must be embraced by all governments. I'm Kwame Boache from Kaswa, and some of the messages we receive. Please tell the guy talking right now that I like him. That guy in black t-shirt.
Hey, you get boys, you get admiral, secret admiral for here. So because here talking about the benefits. Yesterday I was with our sector minister, and you see, minister was not even interested in the revenue aspect. What he was much interested in is the fact that in times of emergency, because see, Metro Mass sometimes, not even Metro Mass, almost every transport company is one of the major challenges that we face. Is in times of emergency, who to even contact. It is very difficult. Sometimes people come and board your bus. Along the way, something could just happen. It becomes extremely difficult getting somebody to even talk to. This very app, at the back end of it, will be addressing this challenge. Because there are some cameras that are mounted in the bus. So the behavior of the driver can be monitored. That is very important.
That's very key.
The driver is being monitored at any given point in time.
And even the passengers.
Yes, we are monitoring
those who come on board.
Those in the control, and the managing director this time around will not even need to be calling the branches for their report. He can sit in the comfort of his office and monitor the performances of every single branch.
So hold on, do you have the control room fully set up?
Yes. And the vice president inspected it today.
The pilots that you have, do you have your CCTVs, your cameras, and your everything on board?
Everything is working, and it's been.
I mean, he is for Metro Mass, yes. But for you as a technical people, I am asking so that when we get out with our cameras to go and verify, do you have them installed in the cars?
In fact, you should visit Metro Mass to see for yourself, because in all the buses we have cameras in the buses working real time. You can actually see the bus on the road. I mean, you can also see the bus in the control room, incoming traffic.
If the bus, perish the thoughts, hits an accident or gets an accident,
Get
and
to
gets
know
stuck
the
at a
cost,
point,
yeah.
will you see?
Yes, you see everything. And one of the most interesting features about this new system is that it has what is called a manifest.
Sure.
In a
Like the aeroplane. So
Like
when
the
there is a problem, you're able to determine what actually caused the problem.
Absolutely. It also comes with emergency contact numbers of each of the passengers on board.
Unfortunately, my time is up. Let me give you the final message, and let me start with you, Raj. What do you think should be the way forward for all of us as a country, the young people of Ghana, the people of Ghana, hopping onto this or getting along with this new system that you've brought about? So from you, I'll get to Simon, and then I'll round up with you in a minute each.
Yeah, so I would like to say that we built this for every Ghanaian, and I would like us to embrace this and understand that we built this to make our lives easier. Momo came to make our lives easier. Now we are running transactions cashless, right? We don't carry cash around. And TapNGo is coming on as another extension of that idea of making Ghanaians' lives easier. So for me, I would say that we built this system for everyone, for every single person. And I would want you to just open up your mind to it and embrace it, right? Yeah.
All right. So Simon, let me pick from you.
I'd like to also say that this system has been built by Ghanaians, young Ghanaians.
Homegrown. I love that
Ghanaians,
about
yes,
it.
yes, and we've put in a lot of effort to see this app working. What I want to also add is that there's more to come with the ride-hailing service. There's more to come with digitalizing the trotro service in the country, and there's more to come with digitalizing the intercity service in the country. So Ghanaians should look forward to more, and they should embrace what we are doing. Thank you.
So before George, your final words. Metro Mass has collapsed. No bus at Ho Depot. So you should make sure tomorrow a bus begins to work from Ho Depot. So Ho is the capital of the Volta region. We should have a bus if what she's saying, Maruf, is saying is actually true. The Metro Mass, good evening, I'm Comfort from Tisha. I used to take Metro Mass from Kaneshi to Takrady, and to be honest, the way they load the car
is giving the necessary sort of assistance. And to some extent, the concern raised by the texter is true, because of the nature of the people that we transport. Sometimes most of these people comes in with heavy loads. But this time around, the new buses that are coming has this kind of large luggage compartments. So this issue is not going to be a problem anymore. And then the person who is being said, somebody also said that we do not have a bus in Ho. We've done some realignment of our operations. So it is not like before you see some buses parked at a particular depot. So if you are not seeing a bus parked at a depot, it does not mean that we are not operating the route. We are still operating the route. The reality is that we are short of fleet, and that is what we are trying to bring in new buses to augment our fleet size. And we must commend the current government for doing for helping us. Like I mentioned, under the Nanado Baumia's government, 199 new buses have been given, and they are still having the commitment of giving us more. And I think the government deserves some credit for this humans.
I think the way you load the buses is a concern for a lot of people.
But they bring the luggage. The same passengers bring the luggage.
To load the boot only.
Yeah, no. This time around, you are not taking luggages into the bus.
So all concerns are very much noted. Please keep your messages coming. We'll forward all of them to the Director of Communications of the Metro Mass Transit Company.
But you still, I think you just have to find some good time for us to talk about Metro
We'll
Mass
have a
comprehensively.
We'll come back and focus only, apart from the TapNGo, focus only on the challenges people
and keep advocating for us.
Of course I will. I mean, you need a lot of buses. That one we will never run away from it. So, I mean, the front runners, Dr. Baumia, you've become the flag bearer of the new patriotic party.
The next
and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, you're also the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress. I mean, it is right to call on the two of you to make sure that you are committed to increasing the fleet of Metro Mass. I mean, whichever of you wins power. And we will make sure that we'll follow you with our cameras and you get committed to serving the people. Kind of and that is why you want power. George Kobe Asante is the head of communications for the Metro Mass Transit. Simon Mate is the business development manager at TapNGo. And Raj Ahiabla is a software engineer at TapNGo. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with me tonight. My name is Kwesi Free, and this has been The Bottom Line. We'll be back in your way same time next week, of course, for God and country. Good evening.